Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, October 1st, 2018. It's a new month. It's a new week. I'm already confused about what it is, morning or afternoon, but this is the right side of campus, and I am the big man on campus, getting you ready here for week 6 in college football, week 5 NFL. Donnie Rightside joins me. Donnie, it's Monday. It's a new month. And I'm happy because September went out with a whimper. I didn't have a great September myself, but October's here. College basketball gets going next month. We got Christmas down the road, Halloween also this month. How you doing?
Doing good. I wouldn't say we went out with a whimper. We started with a whimper, but finished with some nice winds blowing out there on the W's trail. So if you're looking today, not really in the studio, Jeff, where I'm used to be broadcasting from, I'm actually doing this show, Jeff. Little nostalgia here. I used to occupy the same space in the late 80s and early 90s as my childhood home. Happy wife, happy life, Jeff. New windows, new sliding glass doors going in over the next 2 days. This is going to be my new old home, Jeff, for the right side of campus for the next 2 days.
Well, now you know I'm not married, Donnie. I don't got to do nothing like that. But very good. What do you got? A magic trick happening behind you or what?
Yeah, look, it was I had to hit it up on Am. I didn't know when the actual because we you do this stuff like months in advance, and they finally call you up and say everything's ready to go. So I hit up Amazon, Jeff, got the little fake like black screen, green screen, kit for like 59.99. Had it overnighted through Amazon just so I can take part and you don't see all the nonsense here at mom's house in the
Well, the
background.
only
So hey, look, the show's got to go on, Jeff. We have to provide content here.
well, the only problem is you could see some of the wall too. You just see it
Yeah, look,
black
hey,
and
hey, this is on the fly. This is on the
yeah.
absolute fly. Here's what we got the
No,
little
no,
wall right here. You
no.
got a little black screen. We're trying to make it happen.
Yeah, who cares? As long as we have your voice, that's all that matters.
Yeah, come on.
But we welcome everyone in. Hope you have a great week and hope you had a good weekend. A lot of interesting things happen, and we'll get to all those. We got some MLB tiebreakers to get to a little bit later. We'll recap college and NFL, but we'll start off with some morning headlines. Before we do that, make sure you hit the like button, say hello in the chat box, and if you're on Twitter, retweet the link to the show. Look, there's a lot of people that watch this show. We already have plenty of people in here. Do us a favor, hit the retweet button if you have a Twitter account. It's a great way to get the show to people that might not know what's going on. And maybe someone sees it and they say, "Oh, I like this show." That's the goal: grabbing new listeners and getting them involved as well. So please do us a favor and do that for us. Let's get into the show here. Yeah, Donnie. Now you can finally say you're. When people say you're in your mom's basement, Donnie, now you really are.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, and I seem to think like I haven't been in this room that much since I occupied it as a middle schooler here. So it used to seem a lot damn bigger than it is now. My goodness.
Oh yeah, I felt that before. I went to my parents' house a couple different times recently, and I went into my room and I said, "Wow, this room's smaller than I thought it was."
Yeah, no
Uh,
point.
but uh, but now, Donnie, what do you say to those people that say, "Oh, yeah, right. That's not really his studio. That's just the place he goes. That's where he really lives."
He lost so much in September. He had to rent an apartment. He can't even afford his house anymore.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna hear. Let's get into some headlines here. We'll start out with some baseball. David Wright, Donnie, final game. I got to admit, it was a classy move by the Mets. Was it sold out. They did the game, and not for nothing though. It was a long game. Unfortunately, you had to make David Wright and his family wait. But it was a nice ceremony. I always liked David Wright. I mean, I know he's a Met and everything, but he was a terrific player. Was really on par to have a Hall of Fame career, other than that injury. I mean, injuries kind of got in the way for David Wright, but a heck of a player. Actually, a way better player than you might think, too. I mean, you look at his stats. I mean, he's a terrific player and good guy too. You hate to see players lose it because of their career, but David Wright, a terrific player.
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes, Jeff, your body fails you, man. We see it in a lot of sports out there. You say like the what ifs of the world, wasn't it? What the young kid for Portland was it Brendan Roy? Looked like he was on his way to NBA stardom, but the knees just give out. Sometimes that happens in sports. But hey, look, you can't really get mad at the guy. Lived out his dream, played well for as long as he could have, Jeff. Compensated appropriately, riding off in the sunset as a Met hero, even though they weren't able to get the ultimate goal, winning the World Series. But David Wright, I mean, if anybody could choose a life to live, it probably would be David Wright's at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at David Wright. I mean, he hasn't played for seemingly like 2 years now. You look at his contract, Don. He'll make $20 million this year. Okay, he made $20 million all the way back to 2014, and he'll make $15 million next year. Won't even play. To make $12 million in 2020.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, how about that? And I guess
uh,
he's going to hang on, and I guess a lot of that, you do get insurance money in baseball for some of these injuries, so I don't think the Mets are going to be completely on the hook. But if you were David Wright, why would you retire? Why don't you just play the whole like rehab game? You know what I mean? Collect another 20 million.
yeah, sure. Ryder Cup. The U.S. loses the Ryder Cup. I didn't follow this much just because I noticed that the U.S. was losing, and it was hard to watch it. It was on very early. But New York Times put an article down it today saying that Europe leaves their egos at the door. Those of U.S. slam the door. So obviously, I looked at some of these players in the Ryder Cup. I mean, mainly Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods. Looks like they really held the U.S. back. I mean, didn't play well, which hurt, but Europe beats the U.S. in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, the U.S. driving accuracy always going to be a problem. I mean, we joke about Tiger Woods has struggling hitting the fairway, but they didn't play very well at all. No, you're right, Jeff. When you look at the Europeans, camaraderie, right? They're more likely to go out, play around the golf, and then drink in the pubs over there with all the fans that they have, as opposed to the United States guys going over there, probably renting a mansion. You have your stylist with you have your agent with you have your entourage, you brought your family over, you brought your boys over there, you have an image upkeep, and oh yeah, not really any money involved, Jeff, with the Ryder Cup. So it's about a thing of pride. Maybe if you slap $10 million on the table for the winning team, maybe the U.S. would actually came to play in this one. But it doesn't seem like the Ryder Cup fits the U.S. MO anymore because U.S. players, Jeff, more individualistic, right? Used to winning their own tournaments, have their own sponsorships, do their own thing. When on the European side, it's, hey, look, we're really good friends out here. We enjoy each other's company. We play golf the same way. And I have a problem with the way the U.S. even selects the Ryder Cup golf courses, Jeff, at home. Because when you go over in Europe, it's usually like a link style course. That was a beautiful course in France that they played over the weekend. But why not come home and play to what the strengths of the United States players are? Like a Bay Hill. One of those courses, Jeff, where Tiger can hit it 350 yards sideways, but there's no rough and can scramble around and make pars. You're going to Whistling Straits in 2 years, which again is a link style golf course. I don't think that plays very well to the U.S. Just let these guys have an open cow pasture and rock the ball around. You'll beat the European team.
Interesting take. Welcome in to everyone out there listening. A lot of new people in here. Walking Terrible. A couple guys that I'm seeing in here for the first time. All the normal guys welcome in. Troy V, is Craig Carton going to prison? That's not for me to decide. That's for a judge of his peers to decide. So I wouldn't know. His case is fairly interesting though. But that is not a question that I'll answer. Um, I wouldn't know. His trial, I believe, begins this month, though. What do
Jeff,
we else we got?
who's
Oh,
is anybody
yeah.
anybody is anybody from the show Billions acting attorney general, I guess, on this one, or district attorney here on the
Yes,
South
Chuck
side?
Rhodes. Chuck Rhodes is
Yeah,
actually the prosecutor in
the
this
lead
one.
investigator
Uh,
too. Yeah.
yes, yeah. No, but I have no idea. Craig Carton. I mean, here's the thing, and here's all you need to know about the feds. They win 98% of the time. So
Yeah.
there you go. If they get you, they generally have a good case against you. So
Yeah, I don't know.
there's
I
your
haven't been reading much into it there. It's kind of tough when they do pin you down, but it's always a worst case scenario for you when other guys along with you in the same case have already turned over and said, "Yep,
yes,
we did
flip
this
side.
and he did this," and yeah, it's never a good look. Usually, at that level, like white collar crime, they usually flip on each other left and right. This isn't
You
like
know,
the
it's fun.
street level. You're not going to give anything up.
It's interesting, Donnie, because I think people always knock the people that rat and stuff, but it's like then you think about it and you say, well, like I don't like them, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, this also isn't like a mob case or anything. These are just regular people that
Yeah.
got jammed up. It's like they're not like hardcore gangsters and stuff. They're not gonna like
Yeah,
sit
nobody's
down and
waiting.
say, oh
Nobody's waiting for them on the inside because they ratted at this
no,
point. At that, yeah.
no. It's just like, hey, look, I mean, the other guy's the other guy. All right, well, all right. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Craig. Craig's lawyer is Joe Proctor. Yeah, that's might be. Actually, I heard that might be true also. Um,
And
what's up, Al?
why go to jail, Jeff? You know what I mean? Like Phil Leotardo said he did 20 years, and for what? You know, he left his legacy, Leotardo, and he was angry at that as well. So yeah, different from the mob.
Yeah, Leotardo. That's my fucking legacy. Um,
It's a great closing to the show.
we would stepped on by the Metagon as soon as we came off the boat. Leotardo. That's my fucking legacy. No more Butchie.
Great, it's a great one.
No
It's a
more.
great scene.
No, honestly, Donnie, one of the best scenes in the show. If you can get
Yep,
away from that and
drinking at the
Tony
bar,
Soprano,
separated by himself. What was he
it,
looking at, like, his brother up there, and he's like, "You know what?
yeah,
This is
because
gonna end right now."
his brother gets killed, and he basically looks at him and says, "What am I doing here? Like I've literally been stepped on, and now I have
Yep,
to look at my life and say, now what?" That's a great scene because the music is great too in this movie
exactly, you're right.
or
You're
show.
100% right. Great scene.
Yeah, that was what's such a great thing about that show. It was such a great. It's just so great. Um, what else do we have here? Connor and Khabib, the week of the big fight gets going Saturday out in Las Vegas. Connor McGregor finally coming off the shelf and going to fight. This is a big fight. I know for us, Donnie, UFC, we always try to follow some of the big fights if they're around. This is a big fight for UFC. UFC 229. What do you think here, Donnie? I mean, you excited for this? I know for you, you're boxing, you're not a big fan of, but are you interested in this fight? You look at Khabib. Connor's actually an underdog in this fight, Donnie. Plus 130. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, no, look, and you guys know I'm not a fight expert here, but when the big fights are up here, Jeff, you know me, I'm going to tune in and watch, and I'm excited for this because you have the return of one of the prominent factors in UFC. Is he still going to be on top at this point? Sometimes, Jeff, how about that? Even take like a Rocky montage here. When he was going to fight Mr. T, Clubber Lang. Rocky's high on the hill, paid, millionaire, riding off into the sunset. When you have the next guy here on the come up that wants to take what's yours. But the question I have for you, Jeff, is with Conor McGregor. Like he puts on a great showcase. When you interview him, he's always going to be in the forefront. He's always going to be talking smack, always ultra competitive. But when you look at it, Jeff, he got his money now. And we know how money changes a lot of things, but sometimes you can't take the fighter out of the fight, so to speak. Has he been away too long? Is he too mixed up in his money now? Stepping aside, fighting, Floyd Mayweather in boxing. Did he lose his edge? That's the question I have for you here.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if he did. I mean, he seems like a hungry guy, but he has had a lot of things off the felt. Not the felt, the ring. The kind of drown bunny and all that kind of stuff. He's a father now. But you look at these odds, Dunny. This is the telling story here. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a favorite. I mean, Connor's an underdog. To me, that's a sucker bet. You're gonna have a lot of public coming in here and saying, "Oh, Connor's an underdog. I gotta take him." Listen, it's not sexy in boxing and UFC. Take a 1.62 favorite. It's not. Just isn't. Nobody wants to not do that. No one wants to go up to the window and say, "Oh, I'm gonna bet $500 and only get 380 back." No, nobody wants that. It's not sexy. And that's what I look forward to in the business. You look for lines like this. You're not exactly bad either. I mean, you don't gotta lay, you know, 1 to 8 or 1 to 6. I mean, you're laying, 1 to 1.6. It's not bad. I'm looking at Khabib Nurmagomedov here. I think this is a nice play. I think the line's telling you something here. Um, and I think he's a better fighter. I think a lot of people will agree. Shelby saying Khabib will ground and pound him. Again, I'm not going to try to sell you that I watch UFC a ton, but I think some of these big fights are surely interesting. Khabib is one of those maulers. He's going to come at you. I don't know. I think Connor, you look at him against Nate Diaz, in that fight and what happened there. Um, I don't know. I think the line's telling you something here. I think a lot of punters will come in and take McGregor because he's plus money and they think he's the better fighter. But I think when it all comes down to it, I think your real fight people will tell you that Khabib is the guy. Maybe later in the week, Donnie, we'll try to do some of this on the radio show. Maybe we'll get someone on that can talk about it. Maybe Ian Cameron or somebody, and get with it a little bit later. But it's a big fight. It's exciting. Not for nothing, Donnie. This is pay per view. I'll probably buy this fight. I mean that's just when you see
Can I
cards
get it
like
on
this.
Twitch somewhere, Jeff? Can we just surf Twitch and maybe get it for free?
I'm not sure. I don't put up with that behavior, Donnie. I don't know anything about that. Um, but you have some other good fights too that night. Tony Ferguson, Anthony Pettis, OSP against Dominic Reyes. There's some decent fights, and doing shows with Gabe Morency. I mean, I've seen some of these fighters before. It's not a bad looking card, so that'll be interesting. UFC 229 this week. Mark Whipple, Donnie. People are probably wondering who the hell Mark Whipple is. Mark Whipple is the coach at UMass, the Minutemen football team. Mark Whipple is not going to be on the field this week in South Florida after some comments, Donnie, over the weekend. Now his team played Ohio. It was a high-scoring game. We know this because Donnie, you were on Ohio in that game. You were on the over,
Mhm.
Ohio UMass over. It was one of the highest-scoring games of the day. But Mark Whipple wasn't happy in his 58-42 loss to Ohio. On social media, he came under fire after he used the word rape in regarding post game radio comments regarding the officials. I guess he said yeah, they raped us. Now it hurts though also, Donnie, because not only are these comments hurtful, but there was a woman ref involved as well. Not exactly great comment. Um, and Mark Whipple's going to have to stand on the sidelines for a week.
Yes, that girl ref in the MAC does a pretty good job too. You know, sometimes you say
She
like,
is
"Oh, you see
gorgeous,
this or
man.
that." Yeah, she explains the situation. She
Wow.
doesn't fumble words. She looks like she actually belongs out there. But yeah, if you're Mark, you have to be smarter than Mark Whipple. Look, I'm an old school guy. Stuff like that doesn't bother me. But you have to know in this day and age, there's some things that you can't say, Jeff. You just can't come out and say. Doesn't even matter if there was a girl referee or not. When you have a university that's going to be broadcast and promoted, it's not a great look. Do I agree with a 1 week suspension and no pay and that fixes everything? No, I don't. They had to do something. Why not find Mark Whipple, his game check and donate it to a charity of, women's, rights or, survivors of, sexual assaults or something like that? I think that could have been done much, much more effectively than just suspending him one game and taking away his pay. But also, I am very selfish, Jeff, in that respect because Mark Whipple is the play caller for the UMass offense. They're finally healthy on offense. Now you throw a kink into it, Jeff. If they would have opened up South Florida and UMass at 80, we probably still would be digging in because we know what kind of offense UMass can provide and the kind of defense that they can't provide. So maybe a missed betting opportunity. Thanks, Mark Whipple.
Uh, I will say this: if there was a woman official not involved, I don't think it would have mattered. I still think you have to do something about you can't do this to officials. I know officials suck. I can't stand officials. To be one of the worst types of people in the world, but I think if this would have been an all male crew, he probably would have got suspended as well. Because in most articles, it doesn't insinuate that the woman was even there. It just says, what he said. So Mark Whipple will have to stand on the sidelines for a week. One more before we get into NFL. Earl Thomas was not happy yesterday after basically fracturing his leg, I believe, lower leg break, but no ligament damage. I wasn't happy coming off the field. He flipped off the Seahawks sidelines, which listen, I mean, Earl Thomas is clearly not happy with the Seahawks. I don't think he's made that not known. I think we're well aware of it. But the way he handled it, I got to admit, it was a G move to me. He just doesn't give a shit anymore. He's sick of it. You see what happens now. He gets injured. Who knows where his career will go from here, Donnie? You knock these football players a lot of the time for some of their behavior, but look, I got to tell you, I think it was in the moment. He was pissed off. Maybe he never plays again, Donnie. And then what does he do? Where does he go? What does he give to his family? Look, I know these people are rich. I know they have money, but eventually, Donnie, money runs out. And his contract's about over here, and he's made a ton of money in his career. But this isn't going to tell me that down the road, Donnie, that he is coming back. And injuries are weird things. What happens if he never plays football again? What does he do to make money? Because he's a
Yeah,
rich
yeah,
guy. He's a rich
yeah.
guy,
He is
Donnie,
rich.
but he is not a ultra rich guy. Money runs out eventually, and this is a great football player. This is a disgusting way to handle this to this guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, Earl Thomas is a great football player. Earl Thomas has made a lot of money. Earl Thomas is under contract. Earl Thomas is making about $8.5 million this year. What I would have liked to seen is what actually were the Seattle Seahawks offering Earl Thomas as an extension? Was it a nice extension? Was it a disrespectful extension? but he's making a lot of money in the NFL. And I don't even want to put this as Earl Thomas versus the front office and what they have. There's a little bit of professionalism that you go about living your life, and you have teammates in a work environment. If I could stress, like, we've all been at jobs where the one guy at the job is just continuously saying every day, man, I hate this job. I don't even want to be here anymore, man. I can't stand this job. Comes in the next day. Man, I don't even like this place, man. I just want to get out. And everybody's like, dude, then why don't you just get the hell out of here and quit your job? Like Earl Thomas, just like, your teammates depend on you out there, man. You only have 11. You're the quarterback of the defense.
Yeah, but he's playing. I mean, it's not like he's like not.
He is playing. Yeah,
not
but he's
giving his
missing
all.
practice.
I mean,
He's not showing up. He's just being disrespectful, and he's
listen,
he's that guy in the meeting
Donnie,
room that he's probably not even paying attention or giving a damn. Y'all ain't invested in me. What is he talking about? They paid you $55 million. Not invested in what out there?
But
exactly?
you do not handle this like this. This is a different situation. This is an NFL player who's probably your best player in your team other than your quarterback. You don't let it go into this season where he doesn't have an extension. You just don't do it. It's not good
Maybe
business.
he turned
It's
something down like Le'Veon Bell. Maybe they said, we're about to make Earl
no,
Thomas the highest paid safety in
listen,
football, and he doesn't think that's enough.
but listen, Donnie, here's the thing. And here's where I go with this crap. Then give it to him. Give him the money. I don't know if he did that. Maybe he did do that. I don't know.
You
And
can't
if he
just,
did that,
you
then
can't just give him the money if it's some exorbitant amount that doesn't even make sense. They were
but
trying to trade him. They weren't getting trade offers. How about just going to be a professional, going about doing your job out there on the field and get your $8.5 million? Because let's remember, Jeff, he's going to be a free agent next year.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like if he's seemingly, it seemed like he was happy there, and seemingly now he's not because they're not giving him what he wants. I mean, you got to take care of your people, Donnie. I mean,
No, I
we
understand.
talked about other
Look, he
people.
has every right to ask for more money. I never you know what I mean? If you're going to be about you, but if you hate it so much, pull a Le'Veon Bell, Jeff. Just stay home and say, look, I'm not playing another down until I get paid. I don't care what happens here. But don't dish your teammates during the week. Don't act like a petulant child on the football field. And we're also coming off a different thing, Jeff. If he was on his 5th year of his rookie deal, making $2.1 million, I would be all about it. But you already had a nice, fat, solid contract that guaranteed you $8.5 million as a safety this year, and looking for an extension. Look, just don't be a punk about it. That's all. Do about your business. Either be about your business or go home. That's all.
Chip Pyler, no offense to big men. This shows you didn't play football. Cut it out, Chip. I'm so sick of that stupid argument. What does that have to do with anything? What you did in middle school what you did in middle school doesn't have any effect on this. Get out of here with that crap. I mean, cut it out.
Jeff,
So if you had a job
right.
and you didn't know
you can't
next,
comment on it, Jeff. You have
so
never
if
been
you
there
had a,
before.
so if you had a job, Chip, next year, and you've been there for 6 years, and they said, "Well, Chip, we don't know if we're going to keep you next year." Get the hell out of here with that. Get the hell out of here of what you did in middle school. Like that matters. I don't know, Chip, but I don't think you're in the NFL. Okay, you're not there either. Cut it out with this. I'm not a man if I didn't play football crap. I'm so sick of that stupid argument by some of the people on this chat. I've had it with that. I'm sick of that crap. I'm sick of that argument. It's a stupid argument. It has no bearing on this. None. This is an NFL situation, not a regular people situation. Cut it out with that crap. Sick of that. There's nothing. That has nothing to do with it. He's not a punk. He wants to get paid, dude. There's nothing wrong with that. Get out of here with that, Chip. That has nothing to do with this, whether I played football or not.
He acted with the way it ends, Steph, it was probably the best case scenario. A broken leg is not going to end your career. You don't have to play again. You still get your money, and you'll be a free agent at the end of the year. So it all actually was, as petulant as he was, I think if you would have told him, look, you're going to break your leg in like week 3 or week 4 and still get paid and then be fully healthy for the next year, I guess he'll probably take that.
If you want to knock somebody, go knock Le'Veon Bell. Don't knock fucking Earl Thomas, because Earl Thomas is out there every week playing hard. He's the only motherfucker that he plays harder than anyone in that defense. You're going to come at Earl Thomas because he gets injured, and in the heat of the moment, he does something maybe that he shouldn't have. It's a professional thing. I get it. But if you want to knock somebody, go knock Le'Veon Bell. Don't knock Earl Thomas. That's out of
I
line.
actually like the way Le'Veon Bell did it over Earl Thomas. Le'Veon Bell just said, "You ain't paying me. I'm not showing up. I won't be a distraction in the place." The only weird thing was the whole Earl Thomas comments like during the weeks, like, "Yeah, if I have a headache, I'm not coming to practice." and I'm going to do me. Like, that's such a bell alarm ringer, which is like, yeah, sure. I guess they really going to want to pay you now at this point. But, as it all ends, you cut Earl Thomas off the team now. You don't have to worry about the distraction. He gets his $8.5 million this year, and he's a free agent next year. So it probably worked out well for both parties, Jeff, with the way it ended on
I,
Sunday.
I mean, I love this whole thing that because someone doesn't play football, they could just not be a sucker the whole life. So because I didn't play football, I should know how to handle those situations. Dude, listen,
If you were smart, like, how touts, make a profile like for 1 month and say, they crushed it the last 7 years in the NFL or something like that, but nobody knows. Nobody would have known, Jeff. Why did you not just say like you were all county in high school and you had a knee injury so
because
you
I'm
couldn't
not
play
a
college?
I
We
don't
would have
make
bought
shit
into
up,
it.
dude.
We'd have said, look,
I
you're
don't
a
give
big
a
guy.
fuck
Yup,
about foot.
you might have been an all county guard. You could have went with that, Jeff. I would have backed it up. I
No,
would have backed the whole.
because most people that play football are still fucking in that lifestyle. You're not in the fucking NFL, dude. You played 1 year in high school. Beat it. Cut it out with that crap. No, I don't care. I'm not going to try to sell you that I played. I'm not going to do that because I don't give a fuck. I'm still
Jeff,
going to
we
tell you
could
to
have
get the
went with
fuck
you
out
were
of
an
my.
all
You get
county,
paid.
all conference guard in high school, and people would have ate that up out here. You could have owned the chat. Be
I
like, I
could.
played, and I played at a high level.
I couldn't care less. I hate those type of people. Listen, if you did things in high school, you did good for you. That's great. What was that? 20 years ago? If you come in my face, I'm going to tell you to get the fuck out of my face. So what? What do football players not do that? They were taught to be respectful. What is this? What are you? The military? Get out of here with that. Come on. I'm sick of that argument. Donnie, let's get into some NFL. What do you say? NFL
I
time.
love it. Let's do it. Yep, yep.
I mean, at least Donnie like went to college and played. Like he has a little bit more to. No, and that's another thing I'm sick of. Telling people to settle down after you get me going. You tell me to settle down? You settle down. You're making the dumb comment. I'm just backing my comment up, bro. Let's get into some NFL. What do you say?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
see.
do turn. Let's turn the page.
What do you know? What do you say?
Bengals,
Bengals.
yeah, Bengals. There you go.
8 winner. Atlanta loses again in the late minutes because they can't figure it out. Bengals, nice win yesterday. Over was a winner early, but the game was a decider late. A
Yeah,
shootout,
damn it.
game, but Cincinnati finds the chicken at the end in the last minute. Uh, Andy Dalton, Donnie, give the guy some respect.
I gotta give him some respect, man. You come back late in that foot milk. Even though I was sitting in Best Buy with my computer on the fritz watching the Eagles melt down, about the same time, Jeff, the Atlanta Falcons melted down in that football game. Should have had a winner, but hey, 12 seconds to go. Got to cover up AJ Green. Great ball by Andy Dalton. And I gave that play out, Jeff, on the closing line with the Atlanta Falcons when they dipped to 3. And I'm sitting there at the end of the football game going, "Yup, looks like we're going to pull this one out here." And snatched at the last couple seconds there by. And look, that's not a good look for Atlanta, Jeff. 1-3, you're heading into Pittsburgh next week, and Pittsburgh losing last night was a worst case scenario for the Atlanta Falcons. But give the Bengals credit, Jeff. That's a tough spot. Atlanta, 3 straight home games, comfortable at home. Going on the road, Cincinnati last week losing to the Carolina Panthers, then going back on the road and taking out the Atlanta Falcons. That's a nice way. Hey, look, maybe the Bengals are for real this year. Maybe we can get some hope with the Bengals, Jeff. Maybe they can get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and then lose in the first round. That's what they
Exactly.
normally
Yes,
do.
with an awful quarterback performance.
Eagles blow it. Yeah, listen. I mean, we're not. This isn't. The Super Bowl was a year ago. Okay, we're done talking about the Super Bowl. Okay, even though it was great and we're happy. And the Eagles are Super Bowl champions, but this team is not playing well. They're not good right now. They struggled yesterday, and yesterday was a big knock in the head for a lot of Eagle fans. I think a lot of people realized yesterday that this team has some major problems. Defensively, they're not very good. They don't get any pass rush. Okay. The play calling was bad. I mean, you throw 50 plus times against a team that can't stop the run. Doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. You have a lot of injuries right now, which every team has injuries. So I'm not going to really use that excuse. This team has a lot of problems, and we can beat around the bush and say, well, they're Super Bowl champions. They'll get it figured out. I don't know about that right now because you lost a game yesterday that you had zero business losing. And the Eagles last year would have found a way to put their hand on the throat and end that game. Eagles let the Titans hang around. They couldn't figure it out offensively in the second half, and that was that. This Eagles team has a lot of problems. And Donnie, now you got a desperate Viking team coming in here next week. They're playing with some major revenge after getting embarrassed last year. This team needs to get it figured out quick because they got a tough part of their schedule coming up over the next month or two. They need to get this all figured out quick.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good performance, Jeff. And there was a couple key indicators in that game. You thought the Eagles finally pulled ahead right in the first half. That nice touchdown pass, Jordan Matthews to Carson Wentz, 7-3. And then you have Avonte Maddox interception. And I thought this was a key part of the ball game, even though, as we saw it play out, maybe it could have changed a little bit. Do you remember, Jeff? You talk about play calling, which is pretty good on your part. There were a lot of passes in this game. And what's up with the 7-step drop when they're bringing out all out blitzes and crushing Carson Wentz, trying to run a play action 7-step drop? But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the first half, if you remember, Jeff, the Eagles had one timeout, and I believe there's maybe 10 or 11 seconds on the clock, deep into the red zone. They handed the football off up the middle, I believe, to Jay Ajayi for like a 2 or 3 yard gain, ran the clock down, and then kicked the field goal. No shot at the end zone, which was absolutely absurd. And it's nice to go up at the half 10-3, but you could throw a dagger in there by getting a touchdown. But to be a good defense, to be a good football team, you go on the road, you go up 2 touchdowns. We all know, Jeff, when you equate it to baseball gambling, how about like to say your New York Yankees, right? You get the lead in the bottom of the fourth inning, 3-0. The only thing you want out of your pitcher, Jeff, in the next half inning is to have a shutdown inning so you can keep the momentum going. The Eagles go up 17-3 and get it erased immediately with a touchdown drive right down the football field. And I don't even want to get started about overtime. Your defense is paid. Your front seven is paid. They're supposed to get after the quarterback. They're supposed to get stops. You need a stop to win the football game. You don't get it all day long. Jalen Mills, look, Jeff, I was a wide receiver in college. I'm 41 years old right now. I can probably double move Jalen Mills right now and get a
Listen,
40-yard
Donnie,
gain on him.
I've been very I've made it clear many times on the videos that I do, little snippets. I can't stand Jalen Mills. He annoys the fuck out of me. I don't think he's very talented, first of all. And second of all, he's just not the kind of guy I want to be around. I hate the fucking finger wagging after every play, even though you don't even affect the play, but you have to do it. He's just an irritating guy. And right now, Donnie, Rodney McLeod ain't coming back. Okay. Corey Graham didn't look good on that final series.
Stinks.
And I got to ask
Mm.
you, I don't know what exactly on that last play in overtime. What was that? I mean, why are you letting them catch the ball in the end zone? I thought you kept everything in front of you in this defense. Okay. I mean, why was Avonte Maddox in the game at that point? Why was the
I
defense?
believe, Jeff, also on the one of the tying touchdowns, the Eagles it was in the red zone play, and the Eagles dropped 7 guys back in coverage with a 4-man rush, and somebody was wide open right off the snap for an easy
Right.
touch. I mean, I never seen anything like it in my life, man. I don't know.
No,
I don't
listen,
know.
Jim Schwartz will keep getting passes for some reason because his run defense is good, and I'll give it to him. The run defense is good, but at the end of the day, they're too content with just stopping the run. There's no pressure ever with this team. I thought you had the best defensive line in the league. Where the hell is the pressure?
Yeah,
Jim Schwartz runs blitz.
what's a big interesting on that too is because we're looking for more pressure out there. They should have more. Who hasn't recovered yet, Jeff, from his off-season surgeries and not having training camp? Brandon Graham is an
He's looked
explosive edge
terrible.
rusher, and he's nowhere to be found right now. You thank your lucky stars last year that Derek Barnett actually fell into our lap because he's the best pass rusher we have. Michael Bennett's been pretty good on the inside. Fletcher Cox has been good, but when you need that man just to beat it on the outside, last year Brandon Graham beat his man like a drum every single game. Not there yet, Jeff.
No, no, you're totally right. And this team's got a lot of problems. They got to figure it out quick because they got a desperate team coming in here next week. They're 3-point favorites. So basically, it's telling you this is a coin flip game. And I got to tell you, Donnie, I like the Vikings next week. I think they come in and beat the Eagles. I don't think they're a better team than the Eagles, frankly, but I look at this team right now and I just
Yeah,
look at the spot.
I would be on the opposite side of that one just because the simple fact is the Eagles play very well at home and they have an MO for
Yeah,
doing
but
that there.
Donnie,
So
here's
that's
the
why I would
problem.
still lean Eagles in that spot.
Maybe the Eagles aren't aware of this. I'm not really sure, but to win in this league, you have to go win on the road too. Okay, I mean this team has not looked good on the road. I mean they haven't. They didn't look good in Tampa. They didn't look good yesterday. This team needs to figure it the hell out. And I know they're a different team at home. They've only lost 4 times under Doug Peterson at home, but it's a tough game coming up here. But Minnesota's looked arguably way worse. So interesting one there. We'll talk about that during the week here. Let's keep it moving here. Pats, Donnie, we'll quickly jump over this one. Pats must win. They get the job done convincingly. They kill the Dolphins. I guess maybe we should chill out. Maybe think that the Dolphins maybe weren't as good as we thought.
Yeah, I should have been a little bit higher on this football game. I talked to all week long, spots in the NFL. Who needs this? Dolphins didn't need that football game. And Jeff, boy, did it seem like they didn't need that football game because they got bounced from opening kickoff in that one right through to the end of the ball game. Miami Dolphins are a good football team. They weren't expected to win that game, and there's no way in hell that the New England Patriots are going 0-3 in their last 3 games, especially having a home game in Foxborough versus a team they absolutely have to beat being in the division. Nice bounce back game. Some guys on the horizon. You got a little bit more healthy, Jeff, on defense for New England. It showed in that game. Now you get Edelman back. We'll see if they can put something together. Maybe Gronk gets a little bit healthier, even though he left that game early. Josh Gordon in the mix. So, hey, maybe things are looking a little bit up here for the New England Patriots because, again, they do play in the AFC East, and they own it.
I love you guys, but half the show ends up being Eagles talk. Yeah. The 3 minutes we talked about it, riveting. I know since we said anything about it the entire show. Just sit back and watch the show, Dewey. Settle down. I mean, we're Eagle fans, dude. I mean, we're going to talk about them for a couple minutes. The Browns lose. No surprise here. Browns find a way to screw it up. I see all the people in the chat saying that the game was fixed and that Oakland got lucky. There was an ultimate fix. I mean, can we stop with that crap? The Browns lost. They were up double digits in this fourth quarter and lost. Why is that a fix by Oakland? Oh, because Donnie, people were upset because they said David Carr fumbled or Derek Carr fumbled the ball. Look, he was going forward. That's what the ref said.
Yeah, but that game. I mean, breaks go both sides. I mean, if you watch the whole football game, sure. the Cleveland Browns scored early because of a mysterious roughing the passer call, which was ridiculous. Then you saw the one play with Marshawn Lynch was blown down. He would have ran for a touchdown. I mean, there were some bad, questionable calls both sides of the football. But again, hey, look, it all boils down to this. You're going to bet on Baker Mayfield. He's a rookie. He's on the road. It's the Cleveland Browns. If you said to me Cleveland was 35-1 in their last 36 games, I would say, damn, Cleveland looks like a good bet. But a team that is not used to winning with a rookie quarterback and the worst head coach in the history of the National Football League, you deserve what you get if you bet the Browns.
Brad, you didn't watch the game then. I did, actually. I watched the entire game. Brad, why don't you tell me how the game is fixed? Let's hear it. I got to hear this. We'll give you, we'll go to another topic, but
even on the last spot play call, if you're watching that with your naked eye when the play went off, he was short of the first down. He was absolutely short. They gave him a great spot. They put it back, sure. And that still didn't decide the game anyway. You still had to let them go with no timeouts, the length of the field, and also get a touchdown 2-point conversion. But look, you have a rookie quarterback. Baker Mayfield turned the ball over 4 times. If you turn the ball over 4 times, you're not winning. I don't care how many breaks you get. If you turn it over 4 times, and how about late in the football game where they had a chance to go down and kick a field goal? Mayfield, all he has to do is dink and dunk another 2 plays, and they set up for a field goal. He throws the interception. Rookie quarterbacks will burn money in your pocket. You can't. And look, I don't even know if it's the best combination in the world. Awful head coach, rookie quarterback, awful organization on the road. That's the Browns. If you bet the Browns yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I want everyone to take a look at the camera right now, and I'm going to give you a little bit of tough love right now. This is what happens when you bet the Browns. Don't try to say the game was fixed because you bet the Browns. Sharp. You got lost. Give it up. The game wasn't fixed. Clearly.
Or how about this? How about if you even, because I had the Raiders yesterday. It was a nice comeback win, and I'll take it. But how about if you don't have a dirt field and the Raiders are actually able to kick regular field goals? Would you still be in the same position?
No. Good point. Yeah, sure. Or how about the fact that you were up 8 with like a minute to go, and they drove down the field, scored a touchdown on a fade, and then scored a touchdown or got the 2-point conversion on the same exact play? What about that? Was that fixed? No. You just
I do like Baker Mayfield. I mean, I think he's going to be a decent pro. He has moxie out there, but he's a young gunslinger, and young gunslingers get in trouble in the NFL early.
Sure. Steelers, disgusting. What a bad performance. Another bad performance by the Steelers.
Yeah. Second, you talk about the second half Steelers, Jeff. What goes on at halftime? Did they get liquored up in there? I mean, did they just stop playing football at halftime on offense?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, the Ravens were terrific the entire game. I mean, I know they let them back in the game a little bit, but hey, Donnie, this Raven team, a good football team, really good team. They can move the ball down the field now. It's not this dink and dunk run crap with no receivers. It's a pretty good offense, Donnie. Watch out for the Baltimore Ravens. I like this team.
No, that statement game for me yesterday. You got a little bit healthier on defense. You showed an offense that can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Because you're right. What was the old Ravens' MO? cross the 50-yard line, get a 60-yard field goal. Cross the 50-yard line, kick a 60-yard field goal. Now that you have some deep threats out there, you can push the ball down the field. Makes the Ravens much more formidable. We'll see if they can stay healthy throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, you should be a buyer on the Ravens right now, Jeff. They're a pretty good football team.
Why did the Raiders get rid of Bastian Janikowski? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't really seem to understand that either. Donnie,
And by the
we
way,
got to
quick point
keep
out,
it.
hold on, Donnie. You don't lie. You had the shootout or a shootout in those clothes you sweat. I sweat. You sweat every NFL game. The NFL is a lot like the NBA, man. It's never, ever, ever over in the NFL with how crazy it is. So you'll sweat 9 out of 10 games that you bet in the NFL where the team that you're going against or the team that you have has the football and they can either drive down and score to win the football game, cover the spread, not cover the spread, 2-point conversions, mixed extra points. And how about this, Jeff, in that Raiders game? One for the good guys on the 2-point conversion for once in our life, right?
Yes, exactly. Very point. By the way, all this information we have to get to, we need a little more time.
No, we don't.
I got to get. Well, we do. When I'm being told we have to do MLB, I mean, we don't have enough time to get all this stuff.
Get college.
Let's move on.
We'll
Let's
just
move
go.
on to
What we'll
college.
do is we'll just talk about James Franklin for about 5 minutes and we'll have fun.
Yeah, we'll move on to college. Get this done quick. College football over the weekend. Interesting games. Interesting dynamics. A couple things. Trevor Lawrence gets hurt. Now what does Clemson do? Little bit of this is what happens. Sometimes I had the feeling, Donnie, this was going to happen. Some random thing happens, and now what do? You got to go to a third string backup who's never played before. No Kelly Bryant. Tough luck if you're Clemson. LSU stomps at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a bad team, Donnie. Their team stinks, don't they? Ole Miss.
Yeah, I can't say they just get off my screen, Ole Miss. Like I really just want to not because I lost a total with Kent State the week before, but they're everything that you don't like about football, right? The
But I don't
super
understand,
athletic
like,
quarterback who's smooth. They
yeah,
have dominant wide receivers, but they can't put anything together whatsoever.
yeah, it's weird because like they have a huge offense, a great team as far as offensively, and they seemingly can't ever score points against teams that are good. And I guess we should give them a lot of love because they put up 76 points against Southern Illinois, which is cool and all. By the way, their coach looks like Spanky from Little Rascals. You ever see that show, Donnie?
Who, Matt Luke? You talking about?
Yeah, yeah, like an older version. Notre Dame cruises. That team's for real, Donnie. I think they have a team that I think we all got to just accept that Ian Book is a good quarterback, and this team is real solid. And quickly before we get to Penn State, Donnie, I just wanted to bring this up. It was something that I think a lot of people weren't able to see. A terrible beat out in Arizona against USC. Arizona scores, Donnie. They're down 4 with about 30 seconds to go. All they need to do is hit the extra point, and the plus 3.5 tickets cash. My man shanks the extra point, and Arizona backers go down with a whimper. I know you didn't see
No, you're
this,
right.
Donnie,
That was a
live.
bad one. I didn't see it till I
People,
woke up, and you know how I was
tough.
only alerted to it because I got a Skype message about 2:45 a.m. timestamped. And I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, you got to watch this, bro. It was brutal. Yeah, it was ugly stuff. And you know what's the worst, Donnie? If you back a team and that happens, but then you have the announcers. Oh, that hurt somebody's pockets.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
You know, it's funny
fuck.
because I had a couple easy overs on Saturday, but you know how you can never sweat it, Jeff, until it's over. Was looking for the actual game winner, or I needed 13 points in the second half for the Liberty game. Ended up covering really easily. But you're midway through the third quarter, Jeff, and they line up for the extra point, and I can only listen to it on radio, and they say it's good. They cut away to their little, talking about promos, and they're like, oh, by the way, that extra point was no good. So then the next drive down, a couple minutes later, this touchdown comes in. You're like, just kick the extra point so at least have the push. Bob Davey and the boys are going for 2, Jeff, and thank goodness that they had a false start in that game to push it back, so they tried the extra point. Now, again, they scored like 5 more touchdowns in the game, but you're just listening like a missed extra point. And you're like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, I think you kind of know though. Some like yesterday in that Atlanta game, like it was. I mean, that game
Yeah, you
in
were
the
telling
first
me, hey,
quarter.
Jeff, we got 35 points. We're not even at halftime. Need more. I'm like, how much more do you
Well,
need
yeah,
in the
you
first half?
well you want to because you want to keep you want to hit the total, but like I think in a game like that UMass Ohio game, like you could see the writing on the wall. I mean, it was just high scoring
No, that was
game.
different jump. I texted you right before I had to go to my daughter's soccer game. UMass, you could just tell right off the bat there was no pass rush. Zip, 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 touchdown in like 2 minutes. You're like, this game's gonna fly over, and it did.
Sure. Why isn't Mackenzie Milton being considered for the Heisman? This team's for real. Well, because he plays for UCF, and B, because he hasn't played anyone. No one cares. Listen, I'm so sick of UCF. If you want to be regarded as a top tier program, go try to get into the SEC. I don't know what you want me to say. Mackenzie Milton's not going to win the Heisman. He's not even going to be invited because he plays at UCF. It's the same question when Keenan Reynolds should have been invited to New York when he played at Navy and he didn't. These quarterbacks aren't regarded as great players. Nobody, they're all, we think they are, and they definitely are. He's a great quarterback, but he's not going to be in the Heisman talk. It's not going to happen. He doesn't play good enough competition. His team's not going to win the national championship, and that's just how it goes. If he wants to, which I actually asked him to, if he wanted to be in the Heisman Trophy candidacy, he should have went and transferred when his coach left. He should have left the program and went to a school where he could play in that kind of game. He isn't, so he can't be regarded. He's a great player. I'm not going to never lie to you, but
Yeah, you know what? You know what we're gonna do now with UFC, Jeff, for respect. Like I know they get furious if you don't just call them UFC. I'm gonna start calling them the Golden Knights because I know they enjoy that when that happens now.
Yeah, right. Well, they played South Carolina State, Connecticut, Florida Atlantic, and Pittsburgh. Four defenses that Donnie could throw a touchdown again. So that's probably why. They haven't
By the
played
way,
like
Hal
Wisconsin,
Abrams says, Jeff, UFC is for real. Just ask Auburn. That's the equivalent of saying,
Yeah.
saying, hey, Tiger Woods won a tournament. Yeah, but he won a tournament nobody cared about. Auburn didn't care about that football game, and nobody cared about
That's
the
like
tournament
saying
that Tiger Woods won.
that's like saying, hey, I played high school football, so I'm in the NFL. Well, not everybody that played football is in the NFL. You know, Donnie, down at their stadium, they actually put that on their like stadium, like
Oh, no, it's on
national
there. Yeah,
champion.
national champions. Oh, yeah.
What
Yep,
a
sure. Sure.
delusional group of fucking clowns. I mean, Jesus Christ. If you root for UCF and you put up with that behavior, you should move your kid out of there and raise him somewhere else because he's going to be raised to think that that's a winner. Like, you didn't win anything. Like, stop with this. The golden showers. Settle down, Armin.
Jeff, come on. Let's
Um,
just talk. Can we talk Penn State for a minute
yeah,
here? Can we talk just for a
we got a
minute?
few minutes for Penn State here.
And then we
James
got to get some
Franklin, and
MLB.
you know, it's funny, Donnie. I got a friend of mine that went to the game, and he tweeted early this morning. He said, "I spent all that money, and I watched James Franklin hand a ball off on 4th and 5 in a read option play that you do in the first quarter of a game." You know, and then this whole crap after the game. He majorly showed how much of a creep and weirdo this guy is, and how much of a blowhard he really is. Not only does he, with that weird press conference, he doesn't admit to anything. He doesn't discuss why he did it. He doesn't discuss what was going through his head. He doesn't discuss anything. I mean, it was just a terrible, awful, hideous play call that has the makings, Donnie, of when Seattle threw the ball instead of running the ball in the Super Bowl. Just a horrendous, awful play call. Horrible, horrible.
Jeff, look, I'm not even going to bring up the game here. I really enjoyed the football game. I look forward to it all day long. Great finish, a lot of fun to watch. But I find myself saying with James Franklin, and I prefaced this already in the chat box, the whole 110,000 people at Penn State, right? Does James Franklin have to walk hands locked in chain up front with his football team as they come out on the field? Does the CEO of Microsoft or the CEO of Comcast, does he get in like the team meetings and rile everybody up and lead them onto the sales floor? Can the head coaches, can you imagine, Jeff, like in the NFL, if Doug Peterson came locked out in arms with Carson Wentz and Fletcher Cox and ran out of the tunnel? Why are coaches running out of the tunnel with their football team or trying to be in it like they are about to play the football game? Just the whole James Franklin, everything that revolves around James Franklin gets on my nerves. But whenever I see every Penn State game opening at home where he's locked, intertwined with his players, like he's part of that, I just can't get enough of it.
No, he's like that coach of the movies that everybody makes fun of. Like, remember Bad News Bears, Donnie, the coach of the Yankees? Like
Butterman?
that
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, the
Butterman,
other
the
team.
other guy.
The other team, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
like just
Taking
like
it way too serious.
yeah, it's like uh, dude, I remember Donnie when I was a kid. I played a couple of my friends and I like during like rainy days on the beach, like we would go to the beach and like play football, like down the
Yep,
shore. We had a group of friends of
yep.
mine and stuff. I was probably like 12 or 13. And I remember one time my dad came. Like my dad was just there like throwing the ball around. And one of the other kids' fathers came, and like he was always kind of like that dorky dad and stuff. But like this day, he decided that he was going to be like Walter Payton, like, and he started. He asked us, he's like, "Can I play?" He's like, and we let him play. And like this guy literally done. I'm not even kidding. And my dad and I talk about it all the time. This guy was literally throwing like stiff arms and like trying to be like some kind of Deuce Staley. Like it was weird. And my dad goes up to me, and goes, "Dude, Bill, why don't you settle down? These are kids and stuff." And he's like running around. He'd get the football and like spike it when he'd score a touchdown. And I always remember back to that guy. And I often think of James Franklin when I remember that. 'Cause he seems like a guy to do that. Like just a corny
Yeah.
guy. It's like he never offers any sort of explanation as to why he did things. But I think we saw Donnie or a Saturday night, you can not like Urban Meyer, like for who he is and his ethics and stuff. But at the end of the day, he outcoached James Franklin in that. And I don't think at any point you didn't think Ohio State was going to make a comeback. The score was the way it was for a reason. We knew where the score was. James Franklin, you had to figure was going to screw something up. But I think Donnie was the original play call maybe a sneak because that had been working. You know, I don't know. You got to throw the ball there. I don't know what
Yeah, you know what,
or how.
interesting too with James Franklin, Jeff, we always point out, like, how you have good programs like Alabama, whether or not they have a good quarterback or not, they just dominate. I'm real interested to see, Jeff, post Trace McSorley offense for Penn State, because with him just running the football for like 180 yards, keeping them in, because they didn't really have that much of a passing game, but Ohio State's a good football team. Post Trace McSorley, because the guy backing him up doesn't look nearly the athlete that they try to pump him up and run these, shifty plays to. I want to see how really good a football coach James Franklin is once McSorley's out of there.
Oh no, I think you're totally right. I mean, you look at how he handled Hackenberg. I mean, Hackenberg had no offensive line. What's he going to do when And look, we see what he's done. The truth of the matter here, and I know Penn State fans. I had Penn State fans all bothering me about this and up my ass about it. But hey, listen, at the end of the day, Donnie, you know what I see? I see a team that's beating a bunch of nobodies, and when it came down to beating a real team, you blew a fucking double-digit lead. That's what I see, and that's what Penn State is. They're an okay program. They're not an elite program. Stop with this elite program crap. This team is not an elite program. Okay, they have one good quarterback. They can't move the ball without their offensive coordinator, and they beat up on bad teams. That's what they are. When you Penn State fans accept that, but I know you're delusional people and you think that Penn State is the only thing that exists. Stop with the rah rah crap. You're not good enough. You're not good enough to
It's a
beat
cool, but
Ohio
I got to
State.
give him credit though. Like, if you're a college football player or kid and you wanted a home field advantage, would it not be Saturday night in Penn State in a whiteout? That's a pretty cool place, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as we know it's like Penn State. If you actually want to step foot in that stadium, go ahead. But I won't support that crap. I'm not supporting that team. Yeah, it's a cool. Listen, if you showed me the atmosphere and I lived in Ireland and I saw it, I'd say, wow, this rivals, Celtic Park or the Camp Nou or something. Yeah, sure. But the aura around that stadium, that school, I mean, it's pretty disgusting, really. Um, Franklin was a douchebag at Vandy, and it got worse at Penn State. Great point. Yeah, he's just a weirdo. He's a weird dude. Don, he kind of reminds you of Chip Kelly a little bit. He's all bark, no bite. He doesn't ever want to answer any questions. He never wants to admit it's rah rah football crap until that doesn't work out, and then what? Oh yeah,
Yeah, no, I've never
Bengals.
been a big James Franklin guy anyway. I just feel like there's certain ways that you act, and it's like, holier than thou, and say what you want about the Bill Belichick's and Nick Sabans of the world, but there's a cachet with that. Like, they've been there, done that, won that.
Sure,
So come
sure,
on,
sure. Yes, they don't blow double-digit leads, Donnie. It doesn't happen. Donnie, let's get in some baseball talk. We got a few minutes here. 1 o'clock, we got some tiebreakers. You don't see these often, but we
oh,
have two tiebreakers today. Donnie, a little day baseball, a little
good stuff.
meaningful
Yep.
baseball. 1 o'clock Eastern. Cubs hosting the Brewers. Cubs 125, total 8. Wallace Chacin against Jose Quintana. Quintana, a guy, Donnie, that look generally at home. I'm not in love with. I'm not in love with Quintana in general. I think he's just an average pitcher. I think if you look around baseball, you look at average in the dictionary, that's what you're going to find. Jose Quintana. That's just what he is. You look at his last couple starts, he hasn't been particularly good. Give up a few runs. over 5 innings. But the problem with Quintana, Donnie, is he doesn't go particularly deep into games. And look, this is a game where, obviously, look, Donnie, right? You're both going to the playoffs, right? It's
Yep,
either going to be the
exactly.
wild card, it's going to be, it's going to be the divisional series. I think the Brewers are the team that I want a little bit more in a spot like this. I like Chassin. I like what I've seen from him all year. I like him. I like Guerra. I like this rotation. They're not flashy names, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're good pitchers and they're going to get the job done. These are always tough to kind of approach. How are you going to deal with them? How the team's going to deal with them? Are they going to what's the thinking pattern? Danny, what are you generally thinking when you see a game like this?
Yeah, because you're right. Like, I mean, both teams want to win, but is it a situation, Jeff, where win or you go home? No. So, how effective or how deep do you go in this game, knowing that if you do lose, that you're still gonna have to turn around and maybe get a wild card game where it's another one game win or lose situation. Both of these teams that we're going to talk about, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games, Colorado and the Dodgers. If it's just the betting philosophy for me, why not just take both dogs? Because I don't see a clear, decisive advantage in either one of these baseball games today where you'd say, you know what? Quintana's going to dominate or Walker Bueller is going to dominate in this game. I would lean on the dogs here because you're getting a nice price on some really good baseball team.
No, I agree. I actually in the first game liked the Brewers. I like
Yeah.
Chassin. I'd more or less want Quintana on the road. I know that's crazy to say, but he's actually been slightly better on the road. This Brewer team playing good baseball right now, as they've been for a long time. I mean, they've won,
Yeah.
Donnie, 7 games in a row. They're hitting almost
Yep.
300, scoring almost 8 runs a game during that time. This team is murking the ball right now. Cubs, you know, just doing their normal stuff. I mean, there should be some offense in this game, I'd imagine. But I think you're right. In this kind of price range, you're getting, the 115 back, 120. I'm looking towards the Brewers in the first game. I like where you're
No, it
going
should
there
be
with that
fun, man.
one.
How about this on Monday, Jeff? A Monday afternoon, we're going to get a doubleheader. And this ain't the doubleheader, Jeff, where it's Mets Phillies, right? You're getting
No,
damn good, high quality baseball in the middle of the day. And that game, what, the second game, Jeff, probably get over around 7:30 ish. You roll it right over in the Monday Night Football. When we talk about September, October, and November being fantastic, these are the days we talk about, man.
sure, sure. Colorado heading on the road to take on the Dodgers. There's going to be major sun glare in this game. Dodgers 170, total 7. Herman Marquez against Walker Bueller. Walker Bueller, Donnie's a terrific pitcher. I love this kid. This kid is really good, Bueller. You look at his last 3 starts, Skanier under 1. His whip is .7. I mean, he's not even allowing base runners, let alone runs. He's not a guy that I want to step in front of. You look at Marquez, and Marquez has been very good also. I mean, you look at
Mhm.
kind of the guy he's become. I mean, he was a decent pitcher towards the middle of the year, but he has really picked it up lately. You look at his last 2 starts, 14 innings, only 2 earned runs. His ERA's gotten down to below 4. He's had a nice season, Herman Marquez. Good road ERA also. What are you going with here, Donnie? I'm not looking to lay 170 really ever in a game, let alone this one. But I don't really don't want to step in front of Bueller here. Bueller's a great pitcher.
No, you're right, but it just goes with the philosophy that, if I'm not gonna target, one of these games individually, I'm gonna probably think that one of these road teams is going to pick up a victory for the extra dollars, and, you have a little bit of fun base, but you're right, Walker Buehler's been a great pitcher, and there is something to be said, Jeff, when you take the Rockies out of Colorado, they're not really in their environment there, and you would lean towards the Dodgers, but I don't want to lay that type of price. I'll flip the dogs and go both of them in both of these games. Take the plus money, see what works out. Because if you could steal that one on Milwaukee, Jeff, you're free rolling in game 2, man.
No, hey, you're totally right. I mean, but let me ask you. I mean, and here's a good point for Dottie's evidence there. I mean, you're getting a nice price back here. This Colorado team over the last week, over the last 7 games, 8.3 runs a game, hitting 322. They're murdering the ball right now. But then
Yeah.
again, so are the Dodgers. Both these teams really good offensively right now. But in a coin flippy type of game, hey, 160, not a bad price here. Uh, Donnie, does Mrs. Wright said know you're using her sheets behind you?
No, my mom. Maybe it's my mom's, but no, this was actually through Amazon. This is like, if we were going to do the, Napoleon Dynamite. You know how the Deb's taking the
Oh
picture
yeah,
of Uncle Rico and they're going like this. This is one of those things
yeah.
that we got through Amazon here that was overnighted. So yeah, that's about it.
I didn't know if it was like a tablecloth they used last
Mm-mm.
night for dinner.
Nope.
I don't know. All right, cool. Well, very good, Donnie. We'll be back. I also want to let everyone know we're going to break down the Monday Night Football game today, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. The closing line, WCKG Fox Sports Radio out in Chicago, uh, available online to anywhere in the world. We're going to break down the game on that show, so make sure at 3 o'clock Eastern you tune in, and go over. We can go over some Monday Night Football. We'll keep talking about James Franklin and all sorts of other stuff as well. Donnie, a great show to tune into.
Yeah.
A must listen.
Yep, good football score down below, Jeff, with the thumbs up, 34-7. So me and the big man take home a big, convincing, and covering victory here today on the show.
Well,
So thanks for
listen,
tuning in, fellas. Jeff, close us out here, man.
yeah, not for nothing. And if you can do anything for me, which I don't ever ask much of you guys, there's a lot of people in here. Hit the like button if you haven't. I mean, 34 out of 210 ain't that good. That's a failure where I come from. We should have 180 people at
That's a
least
big
like this show.
victory where I come from, Jeff. Jesus.
34 out of 210. I wouldn't want that score in high school. Did anyone
34 to
else take
7.
the Nuggets
We won
last?
we won 34-7, Jeff. We're taking a knee right here to end the show.
Did anyone take the Nuggets last night? I thought they were to play. Lakers got their shit handed to them. By the way, walking observation, Donnie, the Nuggets
Yeah.
finished better than the Lakers this year.
All
Hot
right.
take.
Yeah.
Everyone have a great night. We'll see you later at 3 o'clock. Make sure you check into the show 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye bye.